10 years ago today, the first of 2 prison escapes from Dannemora in northern New York was found. And in Richard Matt's case, shot and killed in a gun battle with police.
David Sweat taken into custody 2 days later. Joining us now live in studio is retired Troop D State Police Commander Francis Coots. Frank, thanks for being here. Always
Thank you for having
your insight here. So I want you to take me back to that time. So you're the head of Troop D. It borders with the troop where Dannemora is.
That's correct.
What was it like then, especially when you first get that news? 2 people have escaped now.
Certainly.
It could be coming this way.
And one of the things that the superintendent at the time, Joe D'Amico, had initiated was called a FIRE message, an acronym for Field Incident Report. And every commissioned officer in the state police gets notified when these incidents happen. It could be anything from innocuous as a brush fire that could, go to the governor's office and he'll want to know about it, to a prison escape, homicide, such of that nature. And when I got that message that morning, I believe it was a Sunday morning when it happened, and I said, man, there's going to be some people with a very long day in front of them. And then shortly thereafter, the superintendent, the field commander were contacting us, troop commanders, to get together for a conference call. They didn't have Zoom at the time, and we were all, huddled together virtually via the conference call. But I had already taken some actions about putting extra personnel along the border, the St. Lawrence, borders, I believe, Lewis County, a little bit of Jefferson County. And again, still a long ways away. But in the event that they made it that far west, I wanted to ensure that we had enough personnel that could at least be in a position if we get information.
It wasn't just a long day. This went on for 3 weeks. I can't imagine what the tension level was like as it dragged on.
Exactly. And every day was new information was coming in. They're getting more intelligence. Of course, they were talking to the people inside the facility where this prison escape happened. So they're trying to decipher exactly what is important, what is real information, what is pure conjecture. We're thinking, are they going to Canada? And when you are 2 escaped prisoners, and remember, one is a cop killer, that there's a lot of resources brought to the area. And to think that you could just cross into Canada and all of a sudden you're living this life of luxury, that just isn't the case. And we knew that. They didn't have clothing, they didn't have any food, but during the course of the investigation, we were able to determine they were breaking into camps, they were breaking into houses that weren't occupied, they were stealing whatever they could steal. And obviously, Richard Matt stole a weapon, and he was killed because of it.
Do your antennas go up a little bit more? Because, I mean, there was a chance they could come down this way, right?
Certainly,
didn't they both have some connections that could take them through this area?
That's certainly, David Sweat from the Southern T area. That's where he killed the sheriff's deputy down in Broome County. We knew that. I believe that one of them had some family members in the central New York area. So that was another thing that we were looking at. We were examining leads. We were doing wiretaps, such of that nature, so we can monitor everything and everyone that he or both of them may have had contact with.
Wow. Word comes in, they're spotted. Take us through that. What was that like?
Well, so you can imagine, as you're looking on the screen now at the troopers that were assigned to the area, the corrections officers that were assigned to the traffic posts, going through the woods. There was a number of agencies that were involved, just trying to coordinate that. So when the first sighting of David Sweat comes in, and where he gets in the gun battle with the, I believe it was Border Patrol tactical officers, and that threat was neutralized. And now we know we still have one more person that's out there. Do we have any reason to think that they had split up? No, we didn't. So we're pretty sure that they, Sweat was still in the area, still close by. And as it turns out, that's exactly what was happening. And the trooper that actually was able to bring him into custody was close to the Canadian border. And that's where he had that encounter.
Time for maybe one last one, although I could talk to you about this all day. But let me squeeze this one in. What do you think, especially from your perspective with the state police, was learned from all of this? I think, Docs Corrections has their own learning that they have and done, but from a state police perspective, what'd you learn?
You can never have enough personnel, and you always have to play well with others in a venue like that, whether it's federal agencies, other local agencies. Even the Vermont State Police were involved because we weren't that far from that border. So we knew we had to always concentrate on developing relationships. We had to make sure that we were being patient. We had to make sure we had people that knew how to take that information, that intelligence, distill it into something that's workable. So we knew all that, and then technology on top of it. The Border Patrol, they brought in their drones. They had the capacity then. Now every police agency across the country has drones, and they're extremely vital because they're quiet, they're clandestine. With a helicopter, you kind of know where that is all the time. And you know, as much as you can see from a helicopter's perspective, that drone just gives you just a wide angle, and it's quiet, and you could put it anywhere.
Kind of drama that makes for a good movie. Oh, right.
Yeah.
There was a movie about that. Yeah.
Frank,
incredible.
thanks so much. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate
Thank you for
it.
having me.
All right.